Not just the mercy watchers, but everybody. Hi, everybody. Today we have a very special guest in Max Studios' home studio, and that is Father David Michael Moses. Welcome, Father. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. Great to be with you guys.
It is so great to see you today. Now, I can't wait to get into this for so many reasons, but I think a lot of our viewers will already have seen you because you have a very strong social media presence. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a parish priest first, but
Yes.
in the time that I have, I definitely try to reach out to the lost sheep out in the world as much as we can.
So here's what I'd like for you to do is just give us kind of the quick vocation story, because your priesthood, as you stated, comes first before any of this other stuff. And it's part of your priesthood with the social media and the way you evangelize. So tell us, what was it that drew you to the priesthood?
Yeah, so the elevator version is I went on a silent retreat when I was 16. And just in the silence, I really felt the Lord saying, it might be you. It might be you I'm calling to be a priest. And at one point during the retreat, the director had said, you should choose the vocation that will make you a saint. And that immediately hit me like, oh, that's priesthood. I didn't really know why I thought that. A lot of questions left, but that kind of set me on a path to where I am now. And I think ultimately, like in a nutshell for me, I started off kind of saying, gosh, I sure hope I don't have to be a priest. I hope God's not calling to me. You can't get married, can't have a wife, can't have kids, a family, got to go and live what the bishop tells you. But then I realized what being a priest meant, which is that you are so close to Jesus Christ that when you say, take a piece of bread and you say, this is my body in the first person, Jesus makes it become his body. Right. And that somebody walks in the confessional of sin and you say, I absolve you in the first person, that Jesus absolves him. Like, you're so close to Jesus that you say it and he does it every time. And so for me, going through seminary, I went from saying, gosh, I hope I don't have to be a priest, to saying, oh my gosh, I sure hope he chooses me.
Yeah.
I sure hope he chooses me to be part of his work here on earth. And it has been, these last 5 years has just been such a blessing.
Well, and you have been a blessing to our archdiocese and to those parishioners that you serve. So thank you.
Well, that means a lot.
For
I
that.
appreciate that.
Yeah, that's terrific. So tell us a little bit about how your evangelization through digital media informs what you do as a priest in the parish and elsewhere, and how your being a priest in the parish and elsewhere informs the digital work that you do.
Yeah, so for me, it was never like a master plan, like I'm gonna get ordained, then we're gonna do this and be at this many followers or something. For me, it was more in the parish as a priest the first few months, there were so many moments where I thought, gosh, I wish I'd gotten to see what priesthood was like when I was 16 or 15. I wish I could have seen this. That would have helped me so much in discerning God's will for my life. And so I thought, a lot of people wonder what priests do all day. Maybe I should show them I am one, So right. I just made a little video one Saturday. I was baptized in quintuplets. I had a wedding, a bunch of other stuff. And I just kind of documented it and posted it. I thought a few young guys thinking about priesthood would be interested. And instead I found that, a lot of people found it sort of interesting what priests did all day. So I saw that there was clearly a desire for this. So it just, over the last few years, as I've had time, I've tried to show a little bit about what priesthood is. I view social media as, I always say, it's like a bad neighborhood that I wouldn't recommend my family go live there. I wouldn't tell people they should aspire to be there. But I think every bad neighborhood should have a church there, and it should have a priest there, because that's where people are. And so for me, I see it as a great mission field. And when it comes to like marketing, right, you're looking for, I've heard it said, like if you're trying to sell a bunch of hot dogs, right, what's the best thing to have? You could have the best tasting hot dogs. You could have the best service. You could have the cheapest prices. But really the best thing to have, if you want to sell a lot of hot dogs, is a lot of hungry people. And I think it's the same when it comes to evangelization, is like, who are the hungry and where are the hungry? And so, for me as a parish priest, I'm looking to the hungry, and I think there's a lot of people online we can connect with. And then as I kind of listen back to what they're saying online, I can then bring that back to my parish ministry and help those people as well. So I think it's very mutually beneficial on all ends.
Yeah, I can see that, where the reality of your parish life helps give you ideas for content, right? The questions that people ask are those that you answer, and then sort of vice versa. So that's beautiful.
100%. And because, online you're not limited by time and space, maybe in my parish, I could only answer the question in person for so many people.
Right.
But if you post it online, you don't have to put any more effort into it. It just keeps preaching itself, and you can move on to other things like confessions and stuff that you need to take care of.
Yeah. So that is so beautiful. I love the fact that you are using the tools of technology and sort of the new media to reach people. And that's actually what Max Studios is all about. Our namesake is St. Maximilian Kolbe. And his raison d'etre was to serve God and to use the technology of the time to be that evangelizer. So I love that you've picked that up, right? And continued to share that with the world. That's awesome.
Well, that's the hope of what saints do, right? Saint like Maximilian Kolbe, they try to see what Christ would be doing in this time with the culture. And so I love the fact that you guys have him as a patron, because that is definitely what the mission is.
Thank you very much. So I heard that you have agreed to come to the University of St. Thomas's commencement for this year and to deliver a speech to our graduates. Is that correct?
That's what they're saying.
I'm so glad. So thank you so much for that.
No, thank you.
So
I'm super excited.
I don't want you to let the cat out of the bag completely, but if you could give us a little bit about the process on how you prepare for that kind of speech. I mean, you give homilies all the time, right? So it's kind of a thing, right? But what about this particular audience for this particular institution? And how do you, what are you going to do?
Well, one, I'm just excited to be a part of it. And I have been praying through it a lot, looking through my notes, looking through different things that I found were effective for young people, in the past. That's for me is always good to kind of look at the track record a little bit. But for me, it's a transition point in life, right? And every transition, the enemy is trying to use that in some way, right? And God is trying to use that in some way. Whenever you're transitioning into something else, you're either going to go to a worse place or to a better place. So that's kind of my hope with my brief talk at the commencement, is that it's going to be a framing of how to transition well into this new part of your life so that God really is at the center of it and you're getting closer and closer to him.
Yeah. So that's wonderful. Thank you for giving us a glimpse into what that is going to be like and why. And thank you for the yes to share that with our audience. And, one of the things that we do when we look at selecting someone who might give a commencement address is to see how well they resonate with the audience. And one of the things that I just want to compliment you on, and I've seen you do this with our orientation group and other groups here on the university, you have I think a special gift for connecting particularly with those young audiences. So thank you so much for that. Yes.
Well, it's easy because I'm pretty young myself. So I'm not too far out of college myself. So hopefully I can connect a little bit.
Well, that's awesome. What can those watching this podcast or listening to it also, what can they do in their lives to draw closer to Jesus?
Yeah, well, your relationship with Jesus really is your prayer in a lot of ways. So to start with prayer, to actually be talking with him. And then the church that Jesus has given us, the church is a tool to get us to Christ, right? It's a vehicle, it's a ship to take us there. So I think to utilize what the church has offered, especially the Eucharist, especially confession, to make the most of that is the surefire, tried and true way of getting closer to the Lord.
Now, when you're not wearing your collar and when you're not preaching either digitally or in the pulpit, right, at the ambo, what do you like to do? What's David Michael do?
Well, in a lot of ways, my life is priesthood, right? So my day off, I'm working on things, working on content, that kind of stuff. But I do love being with my family, my friends. So there's a group of us, 5 young priests who go to IHOP once a month at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning. So just hanging out with those guys, hanging out with my family, that for me is very refreshing and rejuvenating.
Excellent. Well, I am so delighted that you were here with us. And thank you for your yes.
Thank you very much.
to everything. And thank you for joining us today. And God bless you.